He spent 18 years behind bars, 18 birthdays missed, 18 years of imagining what her voice would sound like if she were still alive. When the gates finally opened, he didn't call anyone. He didn't celebrate. He just walked, one step after another, until he reached the cemetery. This isn't a story about guilt or innocence. It's about the space between punishment and peace, a space where regret breathes quietly and forgiveness sometimes takes a lifetime to find. Welcome to Shadows of Justice, where crime meets compassion. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. For returning viewers, thanks for sticking to the channel. David Carter was an ordinary man, a construction worker, a father trying to hold a life together with tired hands and late paychecks. His daughter, Lena, was 16, sharp, gentle, gifted with music that could turn sadness into sound. She dreamed of leaving their small town to study piano. That night, she stood in the living room doorway, holding an envelope that could change her life. "Dad, I got in," she whispered. "It's a full scholarship." He looked up from his glass of whiskey, eyes dull from exhaustion. "You're not going anywhere," he said. At first, she thought he was joking, but his tone cut through the air like a blade. They argued. Her voice trembled. His grew louder. Years of unspoken pain burst open like a wound. She screamed, "You're afraid of being alone." He shouted back, "You're just like your mother." Then came the shove, a stumble, the crack of wood, and silence. He dropped to his knees beside her, his shaking hands pressing against her shoulder. "Lena, baby, wake up." But she didn't move. By the time the sirens arrived, he already knew. He'd destroyed the one thing he swore to protect. In the courtroom, David didn't speak much. What could he say that would matter? The prosecutor called it rage. The newspapers called it murder. He called it a moment he couldn't take back. When the judge said 18 years in state prison, he nodded once. No outburst, no plea. Just a quiet acceptance, as if the sentence only confirmed what his soul already knew. He looked once at the photograph of Lena on the evidence table, then lowered his head as the guards led him away. Prison is a world of noise. Metal doors, footsteps, voices that echo in the dark. But inside, David found only silence. He stopped talking, stopped eating. He refused visitors. He lived like a ghost, haunting his own memories. Then came Miguel, an older inmate with kind eyes and a library key around his neck. He didn't ask what David had done. He asked, "Do you still dream about her?" David didn't answer. Miguel said softly, "Then write, even if no one reads it." That night, under the flicker of a dying bulb, David wrote his first letter in years. "Dear Lena, I still don't know how to breathe without the sound of your voice in this house." The next night, he wrote another, then another. The letters piled up, hundreds of them, ink and paper soaked with guilt. He kept them in a wooden box he built in the prison workshop. His own confessional, his own graveyard of words. 18 years later, the gate opened again. Freedom didn't feel like salvation. It felt like stepping into a world that had moved on without him. He boarded a bus with one bag and that wooden box.
Through the window, the city looked older, colder. His house was gone, replaced by a playground full of laughter. The sound of children's voices hit him like both mercy and punishment. He sat on a swing, listening to the creak of chains in the wind. Maybe this was how life balanced itself, taking, giving, taking again. Then he went to the cemetery. There, beneath the oak trees, was her name carved in stone. Lena Carter, 1990-2006. Forever loved. He knelt, placed the oldest letter on the grass, and whispered, "If love could bring you back, you'd be home by now." David could have disappeared. Instead, he found work at a small community center, a place for kids who reminded him too much of himself. He fixed tables, repaired chairs, then started teaching carpentry classes on weekends. The kids called him Mr. D. They didn't know his story. They only knew he was patient. One afternoon, a boy asked, "Why do you care so much?" David smiled faintly. "Because someone cared too late for me." He never preached. He just showed them that every broken piece of wood can still be reshaped if you sand it slowly enough. The laughter in that workshop didn't erase his guilt, but it softened it. And for the first time in nearly 20 years, he felt something close to peace. Every year on her birthday, David visits that same grave. He brings a new letter, sometimes 1 page, sometimes 10. He writes about the kids, about the girl who built her first bookshelf, about the boy who finally apologized to his mom. He lays the letter down and never reads it aloud. Some words, he believes, are meant for the wind. Because forgiveness isn't loud. It's not a moment. It's a lifetime of quiet choices. To do good, to stay humble, to live differently. Some call it redemption. He just calls it finally listening. Time doesn't heal all wounds. It only gives us the chance to face them. David Carter will carry his mistake forever. But somewhere in a workshop filled with laughter and sawdust, a father's sorrow has become someone else's second chance. And maybe, just maybe, that's what redemption truly sounds like. This story isn't asking you to excuse what he did. It's asking you a harder question. If a person spends the rest of their days trying to live better than their worst moment, does that effort matter? Let me know your answer in the comments section. This is Shadows of Justice, where crime meets compassion. Subscribe for more emotional true crime and redemption storytelling, where every scar tells a story worth hearing.